Hey, DaeSean. Your first question for you. You guys ran a lot of wide receiver screens on Saturday. Not so much a lot of plays down the field. Do you feel like that might be, offensive line protection, not giving enough time for Heck to maybe let plays develop?
No, not at all. Rutgers, their defensive scheme was to keep everything in front of them because they had safeties about 25, 30 yards downfield, and they want no big plays. And our offensive mentality, we like to take shots when they're given to us, and they were just trying to keep us from giving shots. So we just had to get a little bit of chunk plays to get the ball moving.
Hey, DaeSean. Hey, I was wondering, a lot of times, like Hack or the other receivers will talk about over the summer work that you guys would do, like extracurricular type of work, like outside of the workouts. You might text each other or whatever and throw. What did from doing those workouts? Did you learn anything in particular about Hackenberg that has helped you this season? And do you think he learned anything about you from some of those extra things?
Yeah, I think going out there and getting extra work, we built the chemistry that we have now. With me and Gino and some of the other receivers will go out there with Hack every morning and throw, but it just built chemistry, and then timing is really important in our offense. And I learned that he likes to put the ball in certain spots, and he expects me to be in a certain spot by the time he finishes his reads and things like that.
And so when you would do stuff like that over the summer, would it be like just pretty simple, like run routes and pass, or would you guys like yell out the different plays and things of that nature? Like what would it kind of be like?
We would do things like signals, signals like the routes or the plays that we would do, and we just go out there and connect on it, make sure that we know basically the playbook even when it's the off season. Other times we would just do down situations, red zone throws, things like that.
DaeSean, this is a two-part question. In Ireland, you said that you weren't able to start catching passes until March, I believe. Not being able to play last year, not being able to even catch passes, what did you learn, being out? And the second part is, how do you feel physically now, 3 games in, being in your first year?
Being out, during spring ball, I was, basically inactive until about 2 days before the spring game, and basically, I just took mental reps, learned the playbook just as much as all the other guys on the team were learning the playbook, and basically I just tried to learn as much mentally without implementing the physical part because I was not able to actually practice yet. And then now physically I feel great. I feel like I finally got my football legs back. UCF I was just not getting it back, and then just getting back in the swing of things from being out for a whole year. I'm finally back and healthy again.
Hey, DaeSean. In the back, one of the things that stands out about Coach is his positive mental attitude and his energy. Two-part question here. How long did it take for you to buy into that? And Saturday, when a game when everything's kind of going wrong and you guys are kind of tripping up yourself, was was his message very reaffirming? Were you guys reaffirmed in what he preaches?
Well, to begin with, we kind of started buying into Coach Franklin almost as soon as he got here. We first met him like a couple of days after he got the job, and he just basically told us his whole scheme of things, where he was from, what he likes to do, things like that. And then when spring ball came around, we finally got a feel for him, and we started to buy into his processes and things like that. And when we were down against Rutgers, we just didn't get down on ourselves really. And Coach Franklin, I don't think he had any doubt in his mind that we were just going to be just fine, and eventually we would pick things up in the second half.
DaeSean, there was a lot of questions surrounding you guys as a receiving corps before the season started. Obviously, a lot of those questions have been answered so far. What's Coach Gaddis' role in that? How has he helped you as a group through these first 3 games?
Coach Gaddis he's a perfectionist. He wants to make sure that all of us are hitting on every single little detail and making sure that we're not necessarily slacking or not paying attention to the little things that the game has to involve us in. And basically every day for practice we would do the little things over and over again, and repetition, and make sure we would get it right. And the only way to please perfectionists is to be perfect, and that's what we try to do every game.
DaeSean, you couldn't play last season, so I'm sure you were thinking a lot about what you could do this year. So I'm curious, looking ahead, is this something that, with your performance already, have you exceeded your expectations? Have you met your expectations? Where is your mindset with how you've done so far?
For me, I like to think like the sky's the limit for me, just like almost probably any other athlete in the nation. I don't necessarily set an expectation for myself. I never get satisfied. I always expect myself to do better than what I've done in prior games or anything like that. But I've been pleased, but I always know there's room for improvement no matter what.
DaeSean, some of the guys said that, because of the new practice schedule and with having Mondays as your day, that you guys are watching more film. Is that true for you? And how much more would you say you're watching if that's the case?
We watch a lot of film. I know last night and yesterday afternoon, the receivers got together, we watched film, and then last night me and Hackey will watch more film on UMass. And, just getting a scheme of things before the game plan is actually given to us, and so we don't necessarily go into Tuesday practices being blindsided and not knowing what to expect. Finally kind of already get a feel of what to expect already.
What can you tell us about Saeed and Godwin? We haven't really seen a whole lot of them, and how close do you think those guys are to maybe making more of an impact in games?
I know Chris and Saeed, they've taken long strides from when they got here in the summer. They picked up the playbook fairly easily and fairly quickly. I know I would help Chris and Saeed most of the time. Me and Gina will always help them. But, they have it all there physically. It's just all about, playing up to the game speed and college football, because I know it can be hard to adjust to from high school. But I think they're there. They just need to, get just experience under their belt and just learn the game a little bit more.
DaeSean, you guys didn't have too many long ball attempts early in the game against Rutgers. Is that ever frustrating for you in terms of later in the game, as far as finishing your routes goes and making sure that you're following through?
Yeah, well, but like I said before, it's just a matter of how Rutgers was trying to stop us from taking the shots in the game and playing so far deep and keeping everything in front of them. We just had to be patient for the most part, and when we were patient, everything just took its own course in the second half, and we were finally able to get the ball down the field.
A little bit on the lighter side, are you tired of being asked about the DaeSean nickname yet? And also, can you tell us how you feel about the DaeSean nickname?
No, I'm not tired of it. I think it's pretty funny. It makes me laugh when I see people's tweets and anything about DaeSean or anything like that. But it's just a little bit of things that guys can joke with me about their own team and things like that. But I have no problem with it.
It's mainly Christian.
Yeah, mainly Christian.